Hey, this is John with Bravo Company Digital, where we help home services company get more leads. We're going to end the week quick with 9 questions. Let me know what you think. How can I optimize? We're going to start up here. Okay. Starting up here. I gotta use Miro boards, man. They're my favorite. How can I optimize my lead generation process to increase appointment conversions? I think you just have to look at the steps. Okay. You have unqualified lead, and you go, then I have to qualify those leads. And then once they're qualified, I have to reach out to those leads. I have to figure out who's interested. Once they're interested, I have to do an appointment. Once I have an appointment, I have to say, do they show up to the appointment or not? Once they show up to the appointment, you go, did I give them a proposal? Once you give them a proposal, go, is it a yes or no? And then you have to look at that data and say, okay, what do I think is reasonable for all these conversion factors? And then what is unreasonable? We recently realized that our appointment make was high, but our appointment show up rate was low. So we get a lot of people to commit to appointments, but then they're not showing up to appointments as much as we'd like. So we go like, hey, we got to provide more value during the appointment setup process to get people to show up to the appointment. So we have to say things like, hey, this is what you're going to get during this appointment. This is the value that we're going to provide, because we have to try to increase that number. But there isn't a quick answer there for how do you increase that conversion. It's just a big process, and you got to look through all of it. Okay. So that's check 1. Number 2, what lead generation channels deliver the highest ROI for home services businesses? Number 1, are you going B2B or are you going B2C? We work mostly in B2B. We like outbound cold calling. That's our favorite, but we also like cold email. We like SEO. We like Google My Business. And then the paid stuff as well, PPC and Facebook ads, okay? So it all can work. I think if you're just starting out, you go like, hey, what do you have the time and money for? Do you feel like you understand the process? Do you feel like you understand that, hey, this is how I'm spending my money and this is what it is producing? Make sure you understand that. And then over time, maybe you can compare different lead channels. But it's tricky. We've spent, over the last 5 years, we've spent a lot of money in different lead channels. Some of it produce great results. Some of it you're like, I don't even know if this is working or not. So it's tricky. I would say number 1, make sure you just understand the channel and understand where your money is going so you can effectively measure it as time goes on. Okay. Number 3, how do I balance paid versus organic lead generations effort in my marketing strategy? I think this is a bold statement, but there's no such thing as organic. Okay. Organic means not paid. But if you are spending time doing it, then it's paid. So you go, okay, if I'm going to post on Facebook once a day, if that takes me an hour a week and I value my time at $50 an hour, that costs $50, right? So I think, you just have to look at organic as it costs something. Try your best to monetize that or value that so then you can compare it to paid stuff. And I still believe in some of the guerrilla marketing tactics where you post on Craigslist, post in social media or, Facebook groups, social media group stuff. There's some organic stuff that can work, some non-paid stuff that can work. But just organic reach isn't really there. People used to say like, hey, just post on Twitter. Now, if you try to post on Twitter and compete with the people that are writing on Twitter consistently, it's very difficult. So that's how I think about that. How do I ensure high quality leads rather than just focusing on lead volume? Well, focus on lead volume. That's what I would say. Focus on lead volume. There's some people that they want that perfect appointment. They think their lead quality is crap. But ultimately, the only way to find really good leads is to get a lot of leads. Some people are like, hey, I only want something that is between 50,000 square feet and 70,000 square feet that wants cleaned 4 times a week. And it's like, that's impossible, right? So I just say, how do I ensure high quality leads? Focus on a lot of leads, and in getting a lot of leads, you'll find high quality ones in there too. How can I integrate automation tools into my lead generation process to improve efficiency? ChatGPT is great. Some social media aggregators is great. Some CRM functionality is great, but you got to be careful with improving efficiency or tools that improve efficiency. There's two types of people. Let's call it three types of people. Person number one doesn't use any technology to improve their efficiency. Person number two on the opposite side of the spectrum tries to optimize everything, and they spend so much time building a system that their system sucks, or they're not able to execute it, or they're like a system engineer, if you will. And then there's a person in the middle that finds the right balance of picking up the phone and calling people when the time is right to do so, but also using a CRM to make sure they can automate emails. Okay, so I would just say it's a balance there. Okay, what should my follow-up strategy look like for leads that don't convert right away? Follow up early and often. I like the saying, if you're not annoying someone by 12 o'clock every day, you're not marketing hard enough. Just follow up early and often. So if you say, hey, right now I'm following up once a week, do it twice a week. If you're following up twice a week, do it 3 times a week. If you're doing an email and a phone call, do 2 emails and 2 phone calls. The bottom line is you're not following up enough. Like, that statement holds true for 99.99% of the people watching this video. Is you're not following up enough. You're not providing enough value. You're not being loud enough. You're not doing it in enough ways. Your follow-up sucks. I can say that for us too. Our follow-up is better than most people, but it still sucks in reality. We need to follow up better and harder. How do I effectively utilize Google My Business and reviews to generate inbound leads? Well, if you're not talking about paid, you just have to, number one, if you claim your Google My Business, you make sure your hours are correct. You make sure you have some photos. You have your website. You have your hours correct. Phone number on there. If you have that basic stuff, okay, that's step one. Claim it. Make sure you have the basic stuff. Number two is have some reviews on there. Make sure if you have negative reviews, you reply to those negative reviews. So if someone says, hey, this person didn't do the job, even if you bought a business, you can reply to that and say, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way. Please get in contact with me if there's anything we can do. We're new owners of the business and we're trying to do our best to make things right. Okay. Or something like that. Reply to everything. And then I think step 3, which some people get to, is try to figure out a way to incorporate the review process with every customer. How can you incentivize salespeople or incentivize yourself to make sure that every one of your customers is leaving reviews? There's very few businesses that do that to a high level, but if you can, it's really powerful. Okay, how can I leverage data from previous lead generation efforts to improve future campaigns? Well, first, anyone that was ever interested is a warm lead, right? So any lead you've ever paid for that's in your CRM, that's in a Google Drive, that's in a file somewhere, call them all. Work all those leads, okay? Unless they say, put me on your do not call list, work them forever. And then if you don't really have that data kind of built out, you've never really done good marketing, just look at like, hey, who are our past clients? Reach out to all them. Who are our current clients? How can you clone your current clients? So if you currently work with a bunch of apartment complexes, go after more apartment complexes. If you currently work with everyone in St. Paul, Minnesota, maybe it's time to start looking at Minneapolis, or vice versa, depending on your operations. Last one here now. How do I differentiate my lead generation efforts from competitors in a saturated market? Well, I think it depends what your lead generation efforts are. If you are trying to compete in a marketplace like pay-per-click ads on Facebook, you just have to go like, hey, is my website better? It's hard to do. You can do it, but that's where you're competing at. Is my website better? Because that's all they're going for. Okay. If you are saying, how can I be better on the phone? It's probably just volume, having someone good on your phone. Like ultimately, if you're saying, how can you differentiate lead generation efforts on a paid medium, you just got to look at those variables, those touch points that you have. But if you're trying to differentiate on direct mail, let's say sending postcards, okay, how do you differentiate with selling postcards? You come up with a better postcard, right? But sure. But my point is most people aren't going to send postcards consistently. So if you can just do it consistently, that's what's going to differentiate you, is that consistency. Okay. All right. Those are my 9 questions. Thanks for watching. Again, I'm John from Bravo Company Digital. Hit us up if you want lead generation services. Thanks.